Make a date with Reverend Dr. Ebenezer Markwei at 6 a.m. from Monday to Saturday on Graphic Online via Facebook and YouTube as he expounds on matters of faith. Graphic Online, truth and accuracy every day.
Hello, this is Reverend Dr. Ebenezer Markwei of Living Streams International, bringing you matters of faith with Graphic Online. And I'd like to capture my thoughts this morning with the words Acceptance Avenue. Acceptance Avenue. And I'm still in Genesis chapter 4, or I'm still in Genesis chapter 4. I'm walking through the avenues of Genesis chapter 4. Here again, we come to the story of Cain and Abel. Now, the Bible says they desired to bring an offering. They desired to bring sacrifice. God never asked them. They did it willingly. And then all of a sudden, Cain's sacrifice was rejected or was not respected. But Abel's sacrifice was respected. And I've already told you that God is no respecter of persons, but God is a respecter of sacrifice. Oh, yes, yes, and yes. Now, then all of a sudden, the Bible says now Cain began to breed in himself, or he began to brood over the thoughts that Abel is the reason for mine. He was very angry, and his anger spewed into blame, and he was blaming Abel for exposing him. The good thing that Abel did exposed his wrong. The good procedure of Abel exposed his wrong procedure. And the Bible says, instead of Cain admitting that I think I did it wrong, I got it wrong, he began to look at Abel as the source of his discomfort, as the source of his rejection. Now, here's the problem. When God came to town, God said to Cain, the problem is you, the problem is not Abel. And what Cain should have done is should have accepted that I am the problem and not Cain and not Abel. I am the problem and Abel is not the problem. And Cain should have said look, I accept it. I accept blame. I accept responsibility for where I am now. I don't need to blame others. Most of the time, this is what happens. You made the mistake. You did what you did. And then you begin to blame others for putting you there. No. No, that's not the right thing. You're looking at someone rather instead of looking at you. Like I said earlier on, you're looking at the man. Look at the man in the mirror. Now, here's the principle. If Cain had come to the place to accept, if Cain had walked in Acceptance Avenue, and I said, listen, I'm responsible for this. Look, the buck stops here. One time, there's a very fine, interesting episode of a married man and his wife who came to me, and there was a serious misunderstanding. And then I said to the man, would you like to talk? And then the man said, please allow my wife to talk. Now, the wife looked at him in disbelief because she knew that he's always the man who wants his voice to be heard. So the wife went on speaking and giving us her narrative. And as she was saying it, she was crying. Then I was watching the man. And then when the wife had finished, earlier on when the man came, you could see he was bristling with anger. You could see frustration, you could see anger. But then when he started talking, there was something he said. He said, Pastor, this is my mistake. I did this, I did that. And the wife's head popped up like, what? And the man just kept talking about the things that he did wrong. And then right in front of me, he said, I want to do something before I continue. He knelt down and said, honey, can you give me your hand? And the woman, reluctantly stretched forth her hand. And then he said to the wife, I'm so sorry. Coming, all I was doing was meditating on what you did. When I was coming, all I was doing was, I was rather blaming you. And, but as she began to talk, I suddenly realized that 90% of the problem came from me. You were only reacting or responding to my mistake. So Pastor, please help me apologize to my wife. And the wife's tears, flowed for a while. And then she lifted up and she told the husband, please stand. And when the husband stood up, the woman got up and embraced the man and then said to the man, I'm also so sorry. I shouldn't have reacted this way. If Cain had accepted, if Cain had walked in acceptance avenue, he will not go commit murder. And his fate will not be worse. Jesus made a statement in Matthew 5:25. And that statement is a very powerful truth. He said, agree with your enemy quickly whilst you are on the way. Lest he brings you, I'm talking about the King James Version, lest he brings you to the place of judgment. He brings you to the gate. The gate is a place of judgment. He said, look in yourself and find out what that you've done something wrong. And quickly agree with your enemy before he brings you to the place of judgment, where there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Where now everybody is going to be looking at you. You're going to be an object of public cynosure and public opprobrium. And people are going to look at you and say, this thing is so wrong. It is stinking wrong. And everybody's going to bring you into judgment. Sometimes look deep into yourself, walk in acceptance avenue, and say to yourself, I did this wrong. And then when you recognize it, don't go into denial. Don't go into explanations. Don't go into this and just say, listen, I missed it. I'm so sorry. Acceptance avenue removes you from harm's way. Acceptance avenue kills the issue. Acceptance avenue promotes you. It's a sign of maturity. It's not a sign of loss. It's a sign of pride, rather, to know that you did it wrong and try to wiggle your way out with arguments. Acceptance avenue helps a lot. I wish a number of us will walk in acceptance avenue. A stitch in time will save 9. Rather than allow the thing to simmer and then it will reach a place where it's blazing and nobody can help. Listen, sometimes as a nation, all of us, leadership, everybody, we need to walk in acceptance avenue and admit that we did this wrong. We didn't do it right. It helps. Well, acceptance avenue are choices that the acceptance avenues are choices that you have to make. And as for me, I've made my choice already. So, see you later.